Hi, my name is Tracy, and this is Blue Alien News, and I'm coming to you from outer space. I even gave myself a halo today. Yeah, look, oh, no, wait, that way. See, there, halo. Um, anyway, here we are back again, once again, to discuss the alleged freedom convoy. I've been looking at the non-mainstream news and the mainstream news, but only local Canadian mainstream news, city news, that kind of stuff. And taking a look at the alternate verse on YouTube and how they are doing this thing for our freedoms, we need to take a really close look about whose freedoms they're actually doing it for. As in the fact, while they are pro-choice to be anti-lockdown, anti-vaccine, or, either way, or anti-mask, or pro-choice to do as they please, you have to ask the question, how much are they actually pro-choice for? And how much freedom are they actually pro-choice for? Because the only freedoms that they are fighting for now is the alleged freedoms that they refuse to allow everybody else who's had the freedom of choice to choose vaccines, no vaccines, masks, no masks. It is cuck for all of us. It really is. But the so-called Freedom Rally is not fighting for the freedoms of everybody. They are fighting for their freedoms to literally not do something. Now, would they fight for their freedoms, for the freedoms of the First Nations people who are fighting for their environment? No. You see why? Because they're not going to fight for your environment or your freedoms to live in a clean environment, because hey, they need the gas and the diesel and the yada yada to move their trucks. Now, this is all well and good. We understand. That's what we've been using for quite a while, so we're going to keep using it. But at the same time, I am almost saddened by the fact that our First Nations were seemingly even chanting freedoms along with this freedom rally, because know this for a fact, there is no one at that so-called freedom rally that would fight for your rights and your freedoms to have a clean environment. There is no one at that freedom rally that would fight for your rights at all on any level. They won't be there to fight for the pro-choice rights of those who want to have an abortion. They wouldn't be there for the pro-choice of the people who wanted to have the right to end their life because they had such a terrible sickness that they were dying anyway. So they're pro-choice specifically for this one thing, because they can't get to do their work, or they've got 2 weeks of isolation because of a disease that is ravaging the world. They can deny it all they like. They can turn around with any conspiracy theory that they like. But that doesn't change the fact of the matter. This is a virus that has ravaged the world. And we all needed to have a certain bit of compromise ourselves personally. It's got very little to do with your political beliefs in this matter. It's got very little to do with who you actually politically voted for, because there isn't a country in the world, be it a democracy, be it a dictatorship, be it communism, be it capitalism, it doesn't matter. These people, these countries around the world, they've all done it for exactly the same reason. And some are harsher, you can thank goodness, and I can understand why the Americans would come to rally and protest on the Canadian side of the border, because unlike the American side of the border, Canada's not the first country that's going to send out the Marines to help, or the National Guard, or they're going to try not to literally set the bed alight. You don't put a fire out with gasoline, as the song goes. So whose freedoms are they fighting for? Because they're certainly not fighting for the freedoms of Torontonians when they're coming to Toronto. They certainly weren't fighting for the freedom of the Ottawans, who for the last 10 days have had no freedom within their own city. They get insulted, they're getting death threats, and then they want to know why the opposition comes out and says, please go home and go away. And this is even more so the case if you have got Americans And if 50% or more, even less than 50% is made up of Americans, you do realize that by protesting on this side of the border, you are committing a crime. You are committing an offense that is deportable. You don't pay taxes here. In fact, half of you are probably spending 6 months of the year in Canada and 6 months of the year in America just so you can avoid paying taxes. So by avoiding those paying taxes, what right do you have to vote in this country? What right do you have to protest? Your protest stops that side of the border. You could travel up to Alaska and protest if you wanted to, just because that's part of America. I mean, just keep on going up through the frickin' snow and ice and take your snow removal shovels along with you as well, because there's ice truckers up there that really know the dangers of what it's like to be trucking. And, they've got food to get up to desperate people up in these particular areas. And all you're doing is denying them the freedom to get their products to market, do their jobs, the ones that aren't actually part of this protest. They might agree with you that they don't like them. Nobody freaking likes them, dear. The point is they are here. And in a couple of weeks, as it is, the moment everybody knew you were coming through, like a bunch of dominoes, we better just cancel everything while they're going on through. And believe you me, they will. And the moment we get another tick up in cases, the lockdowns are going to go into effect again. And when do we get up? When do these things usually get an uptick? They get an uptick when there's been some super spreader event. And just because it's cold out there doesn't mean to say that virus isn't spreading around. Granted, you may be vaccinated, but you know how many aren't still vaccinated? You don't know that. I mean, the core group of the protest may very well have good intent. They may very well just be wanting to get across the border and not actually have to have a 14-day isolation if they haven't had a third vaccine. Nobody wants a third vaccine, not even those who have to have a third vaccine. So it's understandable. But by trying to fight your rights, you're denying everybody else their rights, and you have no right to do that. So there'll probably be a part 2 to this in a little while. I'll see what else is up on the news and other laws that one needs to really take a look at. If you're an American protester on Canadian soil, you can be deported. You could lose your license to actually have a job, especially if that job relies on you traveling over borders. You're deported and you're persona non grata, your job's gone. But hey, good luck with that. Blue Alien News, bye for now. Maybe a little more later. See how busy it gets in Toronto this weekend with all the maniacs out there on the road. Stay safe, all of you. And please be nice to the citizens of Toronto. We haven't done anything to you, and we'd appreciate it if you behaved yourselves. Peace out. Bye-bye. Like, subscribe, comment, don't. Ta-ra.